Hi, everybody. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hello to you. Hello to my sidekick. How is everybody? Can everybody hear me okay? Well, it is Thursday. And do you know what that means? It means it is getting hot. Usually we see a lot of news dumps right around Thursday. Midweek is when everything just falls apart. So I suppose we are going to blitz, blitz, blitz away. We'll have a really great time. I am your hostess with the mostest, Whimsy. And I'm here with my sidekick. We've shared many incarnations together. The beautiful Senorita Mila, who hails from East LA. I come from Bremerton. Before we get started, I just want to give a heads up. We all try to be nice to each other, be kind to all, so that all can be kind to you. So let's go ahead. Let's turn it around. I want to, before we do that, give a shout out. I've got to do this first. I want to give a shout out to the latest Patreons. Did I say that right? Patreons. Yes. We have a Patreon where I put up little silly videos. And so we have two new Patreons. Lori Kenton, thank you so much for being a Patreon. And Donna Lineberry. If I haven't had a chance to thank you both for being the latest Patreons. I also want to give a shout out to our latest members here at YouTube. Natalie, thank you, Natalie, for being a member. Jennifer Rowan Psyche, thank you so much. And 1111 has become a benefactor. Yes, that's $99 a month, and that's comes with a free reading, consultation, etc. Per month. So 1111, if you could email me, whimsyanderson@gmail.com. We will set up your monthly get together. All right, with all of that having said and done, I'd like to turn the camera around. Tell me where you're coming from, what you're up to, what you eating, what you drinking during this very late tea time, or maybe it's your dinner. I have been craving coffee. I think it has to do with the weather. I don't know what it is. I'm having an ice water and I'm having some Pete's coffee. I've already drunk all the Jamaican Gold that my friend got me. And now I'm just having some coffee with milk. Sometimes I put cinnamon in it, uh, unsweetened cocoa, a little bit of sugar. I'm naughty. Hi, Gail Swift Fernandez from Marietta, Georgia. Hi, Chris Crowdis. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member. Hi, Candescent Moon. Thank you for helping out. Jenny Basigalupi, who is a benefactor. Always great to see her here. Debbie Brady, thank you so much for your help moderating. Dr. K, thank you for being a member. Melody Harmon, thank you for your help. Love and gratitude to you as well. Lisa, 28 degrees in Denver. Wow. Do you guys think that the groundhog got it wrong? I'm starting to feel spring. I don't know if you all are just feeling a little bit of a hint of a change, but I'm feeling it. Hello, Sandy S. from Buffalo, New York. Good to see you here. Hi, GMAC. NH Mountain Dancer. Hello. So, Bertha Medina Carter is having ramen. Delicious. Snowing in Chicago. So, has everybody been keeping up with the news? We can do the empath's prayer and blitz later if you want. Oh, Tucson, Arizona has ice in the bird bath feeders. My goodness. So it turned to ice. Single digits. 65 degrees in Washington, D.C. So you probably see the cherry blossoms, or I think the first that will start to blossom are the cherry blossoms. So I don't know if anyone's been keeping up with Fani Willis, but it's kind of interesting. It looks like what I had suspected, which is that there was something about Jack Smith having several subpoenas he wanted to do, and they wanted to hold off on moving forward towards indictments until after they had gone through. There was something that came up here in a remote view where there was concern about anything Fonnie Willis doing influencing the perceptions of the grand jury, et cetera, going forward. There was something about holding off. And one of the people that we know that several people are being subpoenaed by Jack Smith, but one of the names that came up was Mark Meadows. And what's interesting is that Mark Meadows, along with Giuliani and several other people, gave testimony. They were called before the grand jury in Georgia, and it looks like there could be perjury charges. What do you think? Do you think that that is why I got a hit that Fonnie Willis was asked to hold off until those of you who know a little bit about the law, could there have been some kind of coordination because of the fact that these subpoenas are coming down, these heavy subpoenas from Jack Smith? And I guess my other question to you is if that didn't happen and Fonnie Willis just started indicting people that are potentially yet to speak before the grand jury, would that taint the other grand jury? I guess I'm a little confused. Because if they're now speaking before this grand jury and they've already been charged with perjury, is that going to impact the way that the grand jury might look at them when they're talking before that grand jury? You see what I'm saying? So in such a situation, what is the legal obligation of the prosecutor in this case? Would Jack Smith reach out to the state and say, hold off until we can get through the list? I don't know. But it certainly feels like something like that. Hi, Cheryl Callahan. Hi, Kathleen O'Malley. So I just wanted to mention that, and also mention that there was just a lot of subpoenas that were coming up now with Jack Smith. Also, we want to send prayers to Senator Fetterman out of Pennsylvania. Evidently, he's suffering from clinical depression. So I did check on him briefly. And what it felt to me when I put myself in the shoes of John Fetterman was I felt like my stroke had impacted my ability to do my job effectively as a senator. Like I was easily getting confused. I was having trouble with bringing words together, and I was worried that I was permanently disabled to the point where I could not do my job effectively. So that was how I felt as John Fetterman. So what would I want to do going forward to help him if I was part of his staff would be to say, we're going to ways that they can make the job easier for him so he's not feeling overwhelmed, like going through things, going over notes, because those are some of the challenges that can happen after a stroke. And maybe it's taking him too long to feel better, or maybe he thinks he's never going to feel better, right? That post-stroke depression that can set in when a person's afraid that their body is never going to be what it was, right? But when you're in a high-pressure job like being a senator, you can imagine that must be just really heartbreaking, that you simply cannot do your job. You're getting easily confused. I think at that point, it's the job of your staff to ease your fears. You're still the same person you were. You still have the same ethics and values that got you into the position of being the senator, and just coming up with creative ways. He still has to do his physical therapy, his diet, which he probably hates, but things that you can think of to make someone's life easier post-stroke, but with the goal of getting better, because you can get better. Yeah. So if he had a history of depression and then he's dealing with this as well, it kind of can compound an existing condition. So we just wanted to send good energy out to him as well. All right. So I'm going to do the empath prayer. My compadre is here making my nose run a little bit, but that's okay. So what do you guys think? You think we should do the empath's prayer and then do some blitzes? It's good to see you all. I will be on a plane headed to Georgia at 6 in the morning. And I'll be on another plane 4 hours after that, going from Georgia to Mexico City. I wish they had direct flights, but they don't. Okay, so we're going to do the empath prayer, and it looks like we're getting the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away. Looks like I got some people here. Looks like, who's all here? Oh, hi, Renee R. Good to see you. Kathleen O'Malley, good to see you. And Kay Travel Tarot is telling me to blitz. Blitz, blitz, blitz away. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer together. And then after that, if y'all want to ask me questions, send me anywhere you like. Let's do it. Sound good? What takes you to Mexico? Just it was when my friends and I could all get together, but I'm not going to vacation for a while after this. I got to save my money. All right. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Okay. Hot, hot, hooray. So it just seems like everything takes forever. Like, okay, so they said that if this was a grand jury to decide if they should convene another grand jury, and the job of that grand jury will be to indict. It's like, what is this? When a poor person breaks the law, don't they just go and arrest them? Like, what's with this grand jury that calls for another grand jury? It just sounds absolutely silly. Oh, New Hampshire is 40 to 50 degrees. Well, that's great. Yeah, I agree, Christine VR. He's got to know that he is well supported, Fetterman. All right, here's a question coming from Rebecca. She wants to know what's going on with Matt Gaetz. As you know, they didn't think he was going to be charged with any kind of human trafficking because I guess he has affluenza. I don't know. Or they didn't feel like they had enough evidence. But let's see what's going to happen with him if he's facing charges for something else. But that, I think, was the main thing looming over his head. Matt Gaetz' future. More secrets he's afraid are going to come out. There's something he's keeping a secret, a tight lid on, that they're talking about that has not made it to the public yet. So he was under investigation for that. They decided not to charge him for that, but there is something else here, because as I talked about before with those of you who want to learn the tarot, I read the tarot different than everybody else. Archetypes and symbols are fluid. It's not like you can go and read a little tiny pamphlet from some game company and that's the end all be all of what the cards mean. Work with the cards and see what it means to you. But when I look at the 10 of Pentacles, I look at the legacy and the ancestry and the generations, particularly when I look at the Universal Rider Waite. You can see the old man, the child waiting to be born behind the veil. But as I've also said, this card denotes family secrets as well. It has a dark aspect, something in the family or something is lurking. We could think about it as the Republican Party, as the family or the tribe, or it could be his literal family. Some secret is being held. But the negative aspects of the Ten of Pentacles could be a family secret or something going on that that individual is concerned is going to be made public. Because even though it looks great, you've got the old man watching and he's on the other side. Maybe he's just passed. So it's an interesting art. The veil of the woman, the baby waiting to enter into this dimension. Maybe the old man has passed through to the other side. So you've got 3 generations there. But another aspect is spying. He's watching them, they're gossiping. So what is the secret? What is the secret that Matt Gaetz has that he is concerned they are not going to stop digging until they find additional information about this secret? Is it related to his family of origin? Now, the other thing that's interesting about Matt Gaetz is that the other in relationship with him, which would be his antagonist, the person that is investigating these secrets, will not let up, nor will this individual negotiate with Matt Gaetz. The hope and the fear for Matt Gaetz is that inevitably the secret will come out. It'll come out to the surface regarding him, his family, his legacy. And there's an Ace of Swords here, which can be a victory after tears. So regarding a family secret, things change for Matt Gaetz by this April. It's going to be hard for them to prosecute him. He's thinking that part of him doesn't want to stay in the house because he wants to be more low key. There's a part of him that thinks that if he was less of a public figure, he would be less of a target. There's this feeling with Matt Gaetz, like maybe I should get out of here. And then he survives by hanging it up. So in plainer words, what Matt Gaetz is saying is that the world of politics is very dangerous, and he is part of the MAGA cult, per se. And now there are hardline, heavy financial investors that want this craziness to come to an end, and MAGA is on the chopping block. And so anybody that's part of MAGA should be frightened. And basically what Matt Gaetz is saying is that he partly wants to get out of politics because as long as he is associated with MAGA and he's in the House, he's going to be a target for, it's all about how much protection can I get in the House, because as long as I'm in the House, I'm a moving target. So for that reason, he may choose to step down from running in the future. Just leave. If you don't want to continually be under one investigation after another with your own part of the cannibalism that's going to be happening this year, then it would be advised to either resign or not run again. Okay, so message from Spirit regarding Nicola Bully, missing mom in Lancaster. So there's a missing mom in Lancaster, evidently. I don't know anything about this. Can people tell me about this? I usually don't do missing persons just out of respect for the family. So I think we should let this one go. But just send prayers to the family that she's okay, and the family can get the information, get her back. We want to think only good thoughts. Okay, so here is a question for Pence, regarding Pence. Hi, Copper Room. So she would like to know if there is going to be cooperation with Mike Pence with the deposition. Of course, Mike Pence didn't want to get into the car with some of the security people. Evidently, he said he trusted some of them, but he didn't trust others. Did he think they were going to kill him? Did he think there was a coup going on? When did he get a heads up that there was a coup? Who did he report to? How did he respond when he thought there was going to be a coup? Did he talk to other people in the House or Congress? Did he keep it to himself? Where did he get information that some of those people couldn't be trusted? There's a lot of questions that are unanswered. And if he did know about the coup, you can't plan something like a coup like that long and expect that nothing's going to happen. No one's going to find out about it. That's what I find so difficult to buy about the coup in the United States and the one in Brazil. How could you plan something like that under the radar of your military and your intelligence without them knowing something about it? So, how it looked to me based on the information, I did go in and take a look at Pence a couple days ago, and it looked to me like once he cooperates, it's advised that he step out of politics for a while because there's kind of a bounty on him. So, one of the reasons why he did not want to cooperate had to do with, they tried to lynch him. So, this feeling that his life is in danger, his family's life is in danger, how much security are they going to supply? Does he have to step back permanently from politics so that he and his family are no longer a target? So he probably cooperates with the investigation. He's got the Ace of Wands. The other is satisfied. So he's going to give satisfactory answers to Jack Smith, his hopes and fears. I think it's the MAGA people because you've got a Ten of Swords here. But he is the betrayer. Ten of Swords is to be betrayed, to be stabbed in the back. So he betrayed them and they betray him. He is seen as a Benedict Arnold. They have called him a Benedict Arnold. And so what that means is that once he gives testimony, once he is seen as cooperating with this investigation, his safety and threats of assassination increase. And so for that reason, it's advised for him to step away from politics for a while and to kind of disappear a little bit because he is seen so negatively after he gives testimony. There is a real feeling of revenge against him by the MAGA supporters. So this was something people asked me to do a remote. What caused the derailment? It felt to me that what happened with the derailment had to do with part of the rail was sticking up. So what happens is that they get old, they crack, they move. And so part of the rail was sticking up. On my left side facing it, it's sticking up, and that derailment is what caused the train derailment, the chemical explosion. We'll go ahead and look at it. So it goes back to that idea that we've talked about where you look at the train systems in Japan right now, where they're going 120, the bullet trains, 120 miles an hour or faster. Same in Europe. And you have American train systems where things are rotting and the metal is decomposing. And there are these types of crashes because we have not advanced, we haven't put any real money into our own infrastructure, into trains, since maybe the time of Carter. We've basically abandoned our trains. And so we're going to see more and more of these types of accidents if we cannot upgrade our trains, our rail system. So another reason why I'm not a fan of what's happened with privatization and pulling money away from government agencies that work and used to effectively do things like keep our transit, operating. All right, let's take a look at the train derailment. We know that some animals have died, and there's a concern that people could be at risk as well. What state is this in? What is East Palestine? Where is that? Is it Ohio we're talking about? Yeah, Ohio. So basically, they're saying that the initial area that was damaged was concerning, like if it's acid or if it has high amounts of sulfur, That's going to be a problem. However, it can be diluted relatively easy also with rain. So even though it's not great to the local habitat, the recovery time for the local habitat is not going to be long. So I'm not seeing heavy metals or anything that's going to be killing people 20 years from now. They're saying that the nature of these chemicals is such that they will dilute and decompose relatively easily. There is some questions, corruption, financial, over the issue of why this happened. You can see the recovery card of 30 days, cleaning it up, also victory card. And this is the card of movement. So our movement or our rail systems are going to be okay. I just want to do a clarification on it. But it doesn't look like vinyl chloride. Yeah, it's not radiation. It's not, it doesn't look like something like that's radioactive that's going to be with us for 100 years. Chloride, which is a natural, it can be in gas form or it can be a liquid form in something like uh, bleach or something like that. So, and benzene, yeah, it could cause some rain and take a while to break down into the soil. If it's benzene, you can plant mushrooms. Mushrooms thrive on benzene because they'll eat anything that contains high amounts of carbon. But there's an investigation into some why the train tracks were in the situation that they were into. But there's a star over the situation, so I don't see a long recovery here. Dioxin, if it gets into the air, yeah. But this is why we're not saving money, right? When we put things like infrastructure on hold, the amount of money now to clean this mess up. And then there's going to be lawsuits, and then they're going to have to settle with people because a lot of the times people get stuck in that junk and then they can't sell their property. Yeah. Laura Willow, please do your research. Who are you talking to, me or to William? Live in Ohio and DeWine won't ask for help for these people. Well, that's not good. May become a ghost town. Yeah, lack of maintenance on the tracks. That's what it felt like. Like lack of maintenance, rusty, whole areas that are semi abandoned. It takes a tremendous amount of work. The Ohio governor refused Biden's help. Yeah, that sounds like something that would be a problem. Let me look more into this. Dioxin is bad. Yeah, but I'm not saying it isn't bad. I'm saying it's not like radiation. It's not something that has a life expectancy of 300 years. Let me do one more. Celebrations. Like I said, mushrooms will eat oils. Dioxin in the air can mess with genetics. They're indicating that it will be a successful cleanup. I don't know why. But there's something about an investigation around it. Oh, they're trying to blame Buttigieg? See, that doesn't make sense because our infrastructure has been collapsing for 40 years. So, yeah. Okay. I think also, if you look at somebody like Aaron Brockovich, people got money to compensate because they weren't able to sell their homes if the water was bad or something like that. But the main takeaway that I got was that it would be a successful cleanup and that there is an investigation into how it happened. Okay, so this question is Alec Baldwin. So he did get charged, or they said they were thinking of charging him? Okay, let's see. Trying to read everybody's and respond at the same time. Okay, what's going on with Alec Baldwin? Oh, foolish behavior. Something foolish. He may lose a civil lawsuit. It looks like he loses the civil lawsuit, the other wins. So he'll either have to settle or something. There's evidence against him. It's a wrongful death, defending against foolish behavior. The other in relationship to him. Strong evidence against him. Some regarding a death. It could go a couple different ways. One way is that he pleads to a lesser sentence. This is what it looks like to me. And he would do less time in prison, but he wouldn't have the same, it wouldn't be a homicide. It would be like an accidental. It would be less than that. So say he has to do 2 to 2.5 years, something like that. I don't know enough about the law. But he does have an opportunity here where they could change the sentence to guilty on a lesser sentence, and he would actually serve his time. There is a strong emphasis of that here based on what I can see because the evidence is so damning against him. He was holding the gun. The experts looked at the gun. He fired the gun. And so while it may be harder for them to get him on manslaughter, they may be able to get him on a lesser crime. If he says he's guilty, he would do a lesser sentence. That seems to be what they're offering. If he fights it in court, he could lose, and then he could wind up spending a lot more time in prison. So it's not looking good for him. Thousands. Wendy says that they're offering at this time $1,000. Yeah, I mean, you have to negotiate. They'll start with something really low, like $1,000, and then it'll become a class action, and then they'll agree to something different, but it will be private, and then you'll have to sign something where you can't discuss it. Yeah. I'm sure Erin Brockovich was asked about it because she's done similar cases. Hi, aggravated progressive. Good to see you. Yeah, I think it's bizarre to blame Pete Buttigieg because every single piece of track in the United States has not gone, we haven't gone over it all meticulously. When, like I said, it's taken years to get it, unfortunately, to this point. So, what did you all think about the issues regarding? Do y'all want to talk a little bit about the balloons? Different now, the scientists are saying that the Tic Tacs were not going at 40,000 miles an hour, that it was an optical illusion, that they were moving, they were smaller than the jet, and the jet, when they moved out of the way into an opposite direction of the jet, and they're both traveling at the same exact time in opposite directions, and one of them is smaller than the other, the tic tac, it gives the illusion of increasing the speed of the object. So they're saying that you have to take the speed of the jet, and then if it was going alongside and then went this way at its fullest force against the speed of the jet at its fullest force, it creates the illusion of being twice as fast as it is, particularly if you're seeing it from a particular angle. And so it's an optical illusion that was making them think that the Tic Tacs were faster than they were. This is one thing that I've read. So if it's just optical illusions, if it's really coming from Russia and China, what would these Tic Tac drones, what would they be using them for? One of the arguments has been spy equipment. The other is weaponizing. For example, if they were to know where our nuclear facilities were, etc., if they were to be carrying missiles or to be weaponized in any kind of way, would that be grounds for the US to be in high alert and to be shooting these objects down? Something to think about, right? So, what about if pilots are saying that their electronic equipment is being played with, and that can happen whether it's on a commercial jet or a military jet? Does that, are we looking at something potentially where the US is thinking, okay, we've got to protect commercial airspace in case these things do have the ability to scramble and play with our jets in ways that are not fun? All right. So on that note, Diane T is asking, will there be any issues with balloons impacting commercial planes? Let's just look at that. Is that what we're looking at? I guess that's my question to you, given what we think we've seen with these Tic Tacs or these metallic balloons, as our agency, our country is calling it. Smoke and mirrors, yeah. Or are they really going 40,000 miles per hour? I don't know. Yeah, if it had a motherboard, could it do these kinds of maneuvers? What are we looking at? Are they optical illusions or is more going on? Yeah, all of that. Let's look at the balloons. Are we going to have more? Well, we definitely have military presence with the balloons. Definitely military presence. You can see military presence. Somebody's playing with us. Hopes and fears. Ace of Wands, to be victorious in the world. I think we're going to be okay. Every time I go into this energy of this tension between the United States and China, I feel like in many ways, China is looking not to be publicly embarrassed. You don't want to shame someone publicly. It's a big part of polite culture. We don't want to do things that are going to cause another country to feel that we're shaming them or something like this. So it could be a situation where everybody has to save face. I keep having a vision of some kind of mediation taking place between the United States and China. And I feel like it's possible it will take place in some place like Australia, possibly someplace in the South Pole area. Yeah, to save face. Because if nobody saves face, then we're being put in a potentially dangerous situation we don't have to be placed into. We can just save face. Just, okay, I'm sure you misunderstood, or like President Biden says, I don't want conflict. Hi, Kathleen O'Malley. Thank you for being a member of Fairies and Angels. Could the gases go over? Yeah, over other populations. That's the concern. According to the cards, rain and some type of cleanup effort will be effective in minimizing how dangerous it turns out to be for local populations. It's not like living on a uranium field where or where the water table is so contaminated, it's going to happen forever. They're saying that it's fairly local, it can be cleaned up, and that it will be diluted. In terms of what's going on with the balloons and the impact, they say that this conflict can be resolved without war. The world and then magician card. I mean, the truth of the matter is, when China and the United States work together in mutual respect, it's beneficial to both countries. So I've been to China and everybody was making plenty of money. Everybody was very happy. The American business people were happy. The Chinese people were happy. I think we can work it out without it escalating to something that it doesn't have to escalate into. Hi, Joyce Pietras. Yeah, Geocosmic Valentine. I think that that's a really good point. Would it be considered war if they were caught scrambling our jets? Are they, have they already scrambled commercial jets? Is this why occasionally someone's losing control of a jet? They're almost plummeting and then all of a sudden they get control. Is it because something or someone is messing with the controls? And if that's real, how scared should we be? It's very serious. I think it is definitely, a lot of people would consider it an act of war. So that's why now is the time to cool tensions, cool tensions. All right. So what are the chances that Nikki Haley is gonna be the president? I'm not seeing it. Is anybody else seeing it? I'm not seeing it. Nikki Haley. She's having a real hard time making meetings with people because not everybody, she has a lot of wealthy friends, but they don't take her very seriously at this point in the campaign. So a lot of people are not wanting to give as much money to her campaign. They're willing to meet with her, check in on her, they like her, but they're not going to give a ton of money to her campaign right now because they've seen the odds. However, if she's picked as a VP, if Trump picked her as a VP or something like that, that could be potentially uh, a ticket that people would consider. Or DeSantis and Nikki Haley for VP. People would be comfortable with her as VP. It looks like the Republican nominee is going to be a man. And it looks like Nikki Haley is not going to stay with it because she could not get enough financial backing. People like her, but they didn't think she stood a chance in winning. She runs out of money. The money is with a male person. It's not all bad for her, though. She could be on the administration or in a position of power in a potentially in somebody's administration. It just wouldn't be hers if they won. At this point, though, the Republican Party doesn't look good. The next question I think I want to ask you guys, just to turn it around a little bit. There's been some conversations about, oh, hi, Karen W. Thank you for being a fairy and an angel. Much gratitude. So there's been some conversation today in the on CNN, actually. They were talking about Biden's age and the fact that it goes back to the remote views we had done, people privately murmuring that he's too old and what are we going to do? You've got two camps, one where people are genuinely concerned that are Democrats, but they're afraid to say anything. And then you've also got Republicans that don't want him to run because they feel like even if he's old, that none of their candidates can beat him. They actually feel, Republicans, that they'd stand a better chance with a younger candidate for the Democratic Party that the Americans don't know anything about. So that is the conversation there. What do you think? Should we be worried about Biden's age, or do we think that it's not an issue? I don't know, something to think about. Maybe we'll throw on it. All right, Lindsey Graham is one of those people that is potentially suspected of perjury in the Georgia case. Let's take a look. Well, it's interesting when you go into a remote view on Georgia, it looked almost like harassment. It almost looked like people were harassing the Georgia voting people by pressuring them to do something that wasn't real. And so that gets to be a little weird. Okay, Lindsey Graham. He had a lot of help legally. He didn't just go in there by himself. He went in heavy load, cooperating, defending his position, didn't feel like he had done anything that was so terrible it should result in charges. His behavior was foolish and could open up some type of investigation legally. He'll probably get a slap on the wrist. I don't see anything major going on against Lindsey Graham. He is defending his position, heavy load. He was foolish. It goes back to what he was saying. I was just trying to help, right? It's almost like he's claiming I didn't break the law because what I was doing was just trying to help because I heard this could, like he's going to try and talk his way out of it. And they have to decide whether or not what he did was grounds for. I would be surprised if it was anything more than a slap on the wrist with those cards. All right, let's do another one. Okay, let's take a look at Fetterman. Let us look, my dears. How is Senator Fetterman doing? Is he going to be okay with his depression? All right. How are you doing, Mr. Fetterman? Don't make us worried about you. He's very strong. He's strong. He does have these bouts of depression, but it can be like his insecurities because of his health and other issues. He will work it out. He will work it out. I don't see anything spooky going on here. Strong legacy, also Queen of Wands. If he did step down, it would be given to a woman to complete running his seat. If he was not able to complete it, but he just presents as very strong, very stoic. The King of Swords is like a stoic card, and so whatever happens, he will work it out. If he decides not to continue, he still held the seat for the Democrats, and he could step down and give it to a Democratic woman to complete the term. Either way, he did great for the Democrats. If it gets to that point, I don't think they would have to have a special election or anything like that. But I could be wrong. There's something about a woman in a position of power, but it's also something about a new contract with him, and him being very stoic. Yeah, Karen Louise, there's definitely an infighting that you feel going on in the Republican Party between old conservatives that have tried to make it work with MAGA, and now they've kind of reached their boiling point, and that's really the cannibalism that a lot of people have been predicting for quite some time for the Republican Party, is that this day would come. And unfortunately, this day has come, and it's probably going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. Now, as many of you know, there are more accusations against George Santos. He's the gift that keeps giving. Now he's stealing puppies and then selling them to people who donate to his puppy rescue. The puppies that people were rescuing were stolen puppies. So he would steal them from farmers and whatnot, and then people would make a donation to his puppy rescue. Okay, so there's that. So like I said, do you want a slow burn or quick? And the interesting thing also about George Santos is that when I became one with, we try to become one with the target, right? As remote viewers, when I put myself in his shoes, was emotionally 3 years old, and I was going to hold on to that toy and sit in the middle of Toys R Us or Walmart or wherever, and I was not leaving. I had I had decided that I liked where I was, and you were going to have to literally physically drag me out of there. And that's pretty much what George Santos has said. He has said that he's not going anywhere as the accusations mount. So 2.5 months was what I had predicted. So it's been March 3rd. It will be 2 months. Is that correct? Yeah. So I think he'll be out of there probably by mid-March. Oh, Karen, you guessed the Super Bowl. I just remember I was rooting for Philadelphia, so I knew I was biased, but the cards were saying Kansas City. So who knows? Well, we could look at it. Who knows where George Santos's money came from? He's a very strange guy. Yes, the Amish farmer, very upset that he stole the puppies and ran away. Um, yeah, let's see what we can find out about Santos, Joyce. Yeah, the money. Well, where do you guys think? We know from previous remotes that Kevin McCarthy was handing out money and that his own money streams were going to be investigated. So, what does that tell us? How many people are going to go down, huh? I don't know. I do not know, my friends. Let's take a look. What is going on with George Santos? There's definitely an investigation. He'll be given the honor of leaving. I think they're going to invite him to leave. So it's one of two things. He can be drug out of there or he can be invited to leave. That's kind of what happened with Donald Trump, right? They would have drug him out of there, which would have been rather undignified, right? He couldn't even stay. It was Pence that had to greet the new president. That's pretty bad, right? So I would say he's got a grief over him, tremendous grief over George Santos. Somebody's investigating him. I think this is the DOJ because this is Merrick Garland's card. Hopes and fears, an investigation that's opening up. Looks like he could face some kind of charges by April. It's Yeah, you can see here balance of justice and tower is hitting by April, but I think he could be out of there before April. It's one of those things where I mean, like you look at his cars and he has to physically be drug out of there. So, I mean, what does the guy want? Does he want to do it in front of America, C-SPAN, where they bring the sergeant of arms to physically drag him out of there? Or does he want to do the polite thing and make some kind of statement that's a little dignified until this can be whatever, I'm stepping down or whatever, and then they can charge him a day or two later. I mean, those are kind of his options with those types of cards. Get drug out in broad daylight or agree to leave a day or two before we bring charges against you. Not good. Oh, really? Yeah, well, Santos is going to vote for whatever they tell him to vote for because he's compromised, and so are they because they're now protecting him. So it goes back to the whole cannibalism that they have no choice over the next couple of months because uh, either they cooperate and work with the Dems or they're just going to flounder for the next couple of years, and it's not going to bode well for them in the next election cycle. So Romney, I don't know. Don't you think Romney's ready to retire himself? All right, let's do one more. DeSantis is running. I think people have already said he's running. Treat him like a CEO. Oh, thank you, Aggravated. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else, but if you're talking to me, I'll take it. Thank you. Junior still is jacked up. He needs rehab. People say that there is something going on there like that. Okay, let's take a look at Eastman, and then we're going to call it a day, I think, because I got to get to packing. I got to pack for my vacation. The future of John Eastman. Well, he's also somebody you think is likely to get charged for perjury. Yeah, it's one of those things where he'll have to be drug out of there. I'm not leaving. That's what he said. I'm not leaving. Oh, I'll take pictures for everybody. I'll put them up so y'all can see. De Mexico. Eastman. What's going to be with Eastman? Yes, he's facing legal issues and possibly incarceration. Well, he shouldn't have broken the law. He was betrayed. His career is over. He's facing incarceration. Don't break the law. Yeah, he's in trouble. I don't think, you know what? I think the thing that disgusts most Americans isn't that justice, eventually these people all get found out, but come on, 10 years later? I mean, why did it have to take this long? He should never, it's like the coup that happened. How anything like that could have happened in the United States and our own intelligence agencies claim they didn't know anything about it? It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah. All right, love and light to everybody. I'll try and do some taped videos while I'm away. But yeah, and I'll take plenty of pictures for everybody. All right, love and light to you all. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. Thank you, Joyce Pietras, Melody Harmon, for your help today, moderating. Thank you to Geocosmic Valentine as well. I think Melody Harmon I got to. Did I get to everybody who was? I think I did. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you later. Be well. Stay out of trouble. I'm off to pack.